So my name is Monique and I'm the founder of Ide Alchemist. I started my first business officially when I was 12, and it was a greeting card company in my mom's floral shop. And I noticed that people were coming in and they were kind of trying to write their messages on the back of the card, but it just wasn't enough room. And so I asked my mom to get me some software so I could make these cards in the flower shop, and I did. And it worked out really great. People loved the cards. They ended up purchasing them at $5 each. And at 12, that was pretty much my first taste into entrepreneurship. From then, I just decided I wanted to become, many things, but the biggest thing I wanted to do was become a marine biologist. And I did environmental management for a few years. I completed my master's degree and ended up working in corporate Barbados as a consultant. And I worked there for 3 years, and it was really great until we had our first big project. And what happened is we worked on this project. I was project manager. The contract was a couple $100,000. But when it came time to be compensated, I was getting my same regular salary. And for me, that was like a big, slap on the face. Like, hello, you could be earning this money on your own instead of working for it so hard and then earning it for someone else. And that project was really the defining moment that made me say, you know what, I'm going to start my own business. And when I started, I had no idea what I was doing. So I started with a skincare company. At the time, I'd been making my own like body scrubs and moisturizers and products for my hair. So I thought, I'm going to just try this. And I wanted to create some kind of foundation for myself. So I researched as much as I could, but this was like 10 years ago. There wasn't a whole lot of information out there, and there was so much trial and error. One of the biggest challenges that I had was I needed a website. And I went to a designer, a programmer really, to build my site for me. And he was like, oh, it's going to be $10,000. So I was like, I can't really afford $10,000 at the moment. The choice is buy inventory and build my business or build a website. So I decided to teach myself. And that kind of tacky thing evolved over time. So it started with me building my first website for my first business. And today I build websites for clients all over the world. This started when I was living in Barbados. Now I live in Toronto and I have clients in Australia and the UK and the US. And my tech adventure has been so inspiring for me because I remember still when I wanted that website at $10,000 and couldn't afford it. And what I've decided to do now is to create a tech kit to enable people who have a desire to build their own website to be able to create it themselves. Like between when I left my job and now, I've always been working on something different. And for a long time, I kind of felt like that was a bit shameful to keep jumping from different things. And now I can look back and say, like, those things were needed. Like, all of those experiences were needed to make me who I am today. And so I don't have any embarrassment around all these different things that I've tried because every single thing has been a bit of experience that's made me a better businesswoman today. So, after my skincare company, I ran that for 5 years and I realized that I don't want to make my products by hand. And so that was a kind of hard decision because it was my first business. It was really a baby of mine and I didn't want to let it go, but I realized that I had outgrown what the structure I had created for my business was. So when I left that, it took a bit of time to kind of figure out, like, do I want to go back to a job? Do I want to try a new business? What's that going to look like? And what I decided to do was take a little bit of a break. I went to Canada for a while. Canada is like maybe my go-to place whenever things are kind of crazy in my life. And I went to Canada for a while. I worked at a spa because I wanted to get an insight of, okay, so what are the people who are using my products thinking about it? And that insider work helped me to see like there's a whole other avenue that I could do of skincare that I wasn't doing in Barbados at the time. And from that experience, just working there, I decided, you know what, I could take this knowledge of skincare and build a bigger business, but I couldn't build it the way I wanted to in the current situation. So I decided to stop. And it was only earlier this year that I decided it's time for me to resurrect that idea. So I relaunched my skincare company under Caribbean origins. And it's really a nod to my heritage as a Bajan woman and also my location now here living in Canada again, where I'm taking the flavors and smells and experiences of the Caribbean and putting them into my product to create a line that is sensory. It's a complete experience when you use one of my products, because you're not just putting on a lotion or scrubbing your skin. You're escaping to the islands. You're escaping to a time and place where stress doesn't matter, the deadlines don't matter, work isn't really at the front of your mind. It's just you open a jar and there's like a little corner just for you inside. And that's really why I built it. That's why I love it. And in addition to that, I'm also teaching workshops. So I teach people how to use their technology one-on-one in small groups. And I show them how they can create all the things they need to do in order to have their website generate revenue for them. The other thing that I did when I was living in Barbados is I started an ice cream shop with my husband. We were dating at the time, but I saw an opportunity to create a place where people could come and hang out, have a good time, enjoy something delicious that was unlike everything else on the island. And that was really fun to just watch people enjoy my work, because we made our own flavors in the store, and it was a nice little getaway that we created for our customers. So every business that I've built has had its own purpose, and it's served a particular person. But at its core, it was something that I wanted for myself, and I decided to create it. And I think that's what entrepreneurship is all about. Well, I see myself really building an empire. I've always had a vision of building an empire. And at one point, I named my company Empire Mastery. And people said, "Oh, that's so harsh and imposing." And I'm like, you know what? No. I know that I have a bunch of things that I can do, a bunch of skills that I'm really good at. At the core, I'm a businesswoman. I see problems and I solve them through business. And my vision for my company right now is to continue to create solutions that make people's lives easier, happier, make them healthier and wealthier. So today, my biggest venture right now is building this tech kit, which is a huge step into the technology world. I'm competing against very large companies by creating a do-it-yourself option that people own, as opposed to a software as a service where you're paying every month for something, and if you don't pay, you lose it. My life's work is to make an impact, and even after I'm gone, I want to be remembered for the things that I've done today, the things I've done 10 years ago. I don't know why other people start a business, but I know why I started. And it was really because I knew that there was something in the world that needed to be fixed. And it might seem small, but for me and for the person who's getting it, it's making a world of a difference. And that's really why I'm here and what I'm doing through my work. My biggest advice is really to find your own path. I spend a lot of time, money, and effort working with coaches to try to understand their way of doing things. And what I found is that the way that people design their own business is based on who they are and what they want. And you have to find your own version of that. Instead of trying to seek somebody's advice who's going to give you step-by-step cookie cutter information, look at what they're doing as an overall process and decide how you're going to be able to make that big vision your own identity.